Hey everybody, this is Heather from Abiding Together podcast. I just wanted to share with you today this video of this dinner that I just love. You can check it out on abidingtogetherpodcast.com for my Salmon Wellington, and I want to share this with you because it is such an easy dinner that you can make, and it looks so fancy and so good. People are going to think that you are just like a pro. So we want to start with turning on our oven at 425. That's key. Get the oven going. And then what I do for a side dish often is roasted potatoes. So I love yellow potatoes, but you can use russets. You can use a sweet potato. I love a sweet potato. With the sweet potatoes, you just toss them in olive oil, salt and pepper, throw them in the oven for a while. They're going to be delicious. Do regular potatoes, I recommend the extra step of boiling them first, because that's going to make them like super fluffy on the inside and crispy on the outside after you cook them in the oven. It's worth the extra step. It doesn't take a lot of time and it doesn't take a lot of effort, but sometimes simple extra steps go a long way. So cut off any bad parts of the skin that you don't like the look of, and then just slice them up. I like them in small pieces so that they cook a bit faster. I'm all about that. So this is about the size that I use. If you go any smaller, they tend to fall apart after you boil them, so keep them a little bit chunky. Potatoes are done boiling, and I just put some oil in the pan, and then I threw the potatoes in here. You want them to be like soft, but not completely falling apart. But there's little fluffy bits in here. Take a look. Those fluffy bits are gonna be crispy bits as soon as they're done in the oven. So you put some oil down, salt and pepper, a little bit more than what you think you need, because it's just gonna help flavor everything really well. I'm big into flavor. Don't skimp on the flavor, okay? So then give it another shake of oil across the top, and just, you can turn it with a spatula, you can just spin it all around to try to get them coated in oil. And then your salt and pepper, and I already put some on before this, and then pop it in the oven at 425, and they're gonna be in there for probably 35 minutes. So in about 15 minutes is when we're gonna put our salmon in, and we're gonna put it along there. Unless you have two ovens or whatever, you can do a convect bake, but they both go in at 425, so that works out perfect. Okay, so here's the fun part. This is the salmon part. So first you wanna start with your pastry. So this is puff pastry. I just buy it in the freezer section in the store. It looks different depending on what kind you buy. For Canadians, Tender Flake, that's usually what I go with, but you can get anything else. You can get it in sheets, which is easier because you don't have to roll it out. But you can also get it like this. So I just put a little bit of flour down so that nothing is gonna stick to it. Get your rolling pin, and you're gonna wanna roll it out kind of in the shape of your salmon. And you can judge how big the salmon is. I don't know how many people you're cooking for. I'm cooking for a lot, and we like leftovers in our house. So you want it to be kind of thin, but it's gonna have to be like the size of your salmon doubled, because you're gonna wrap it up. Rolling this out, you don't want it to be too thick because the puff pastry won't bake properly. But the whole point of this meal is that you're basically creating like a little steaming pocket for the salmon to bake in. If you get any holes in it, just make sure that you try to pinch them shut. If you make a mistake, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Most things can be fixed. So you roll it all out, and then you're gonna get your salmon like this. Okay, just put your good side facing up to you. Now you're gonna get salt and pepper, just season it. If you have fresh dill, please go for it. I don't right now because COVID, you know, so I happen to have just some dry dill in here that I'm gonna use, and then also lemon juice. If you have fresh lemon juice, it's always better. Fresh is always best. If you don't, just use some lemon juice you might have in your fridge. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it with dill. I'm gonna cut this lemon. Make sure you don't get the seeds in there. Nobody wants to eat a lemon seed, so I just do it like this and put my hand under to catch anything that might fall, any of the seeds. Sprinkle it. And now we're gonna put that side down the way. And if you have a thin part of the salmon like this, I just fold it so that it's almost like all the same thickness. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I'm gonna give it another little shake of salt, another little thing of pepper, a little bit more lemon juice on it. Lemon and salmon and dill, so good. If you don't like the dill, skip it. That's totally fine. If you don't like lemon, skip it. Just do salt and pepper. You can do a little bit of butter in here. I feel like the pastry has enough, so I don't worry about that. So now you're just gonna fold it over, make this nice little pocket, and just seal it and fold in the ends as well. So you try to make it so that there's just no holes in it, okay? So the steam doesn't escape, just like that. Okay, not too hard. I'm gonna put the salmon on here. Just trying to do this so that you can see. And you're gonna flip it over just like this. So then you're not seeing the seams. Like when it bakes, this is how you're gonna serve it. And what you can do if you're feeling really fancy, I've actually never done this before. I just saw Jamie Oliver do it and I was like, dude, this looks so awesome. So he just like scored the top, but don't puncture through it, okay? So I'm just making like little crisscrosses like this. So I'm going down this way and then I'm gonna go the opposite way to make like a little hatch pattern. Y'all, when you bake this, I wanna see your pictures, okay? Send them to me, I wanna see it. Okay, so you make this little hatch pattern, be careful not to puncture through, okay? And then you can get a little bit of egg wash or a little bit of milk if you don't have eggs. Egg wash just means take an egg, mix it up with a fork for a second, and then just brush it on top. And it's gonna make it golden brown. If you don't have, like I said, you can do it with milk if you don't have an egg. And then once that's done, you're gonna put it in the oven at 425 for about 25 minutes. Really, you're just gonna watch until this is nice and golden brown. It shouldn't be too light. You want it to be like getting darker, but definitely not on the burnt side. Okay, and you're gonna have your potatoes in there too. So the timing might be a little bit tricky if you're doing roasted potatoes. If you're freaked out about that, don't do roasted potatoes. Buy a potato salad, make mashed potatoes, like do whatever works for you. So I just have spring mix. You just buy it in a pack, any old store. I love it because it has everything and it's done for you. Key to the whole operation of making it fast. Now you can use like a balsamic dressing on this that you buy from the store. You can use poppy seed dressing, doesn't matter. You can add whatever vegetables you want in there. I'm just gonna do this like just with the lettuce and I'm gonna put some bell peppers in and a couple of additions. So I'm gonna do some apple, Granny Smith. I like the tanginess of this and also some feta cheese and some pecans, so chopped up pecans. That's what I like in here. And this particular dressing recipe, if you have the time to make it while everything else is cooking, it's so good. I almost forgot. If you're gonna add nuts into a salad, please don't skip this step. Take the extra few minutes to toast these because it's gonna take it to the next level. I just put them in a plastic bag, smash them up with my rolling pin, and then you're just gonna put them in a frying pan with nothing in it, okay? On like a low heat, and you're gonna watch it and you're gonna shake it around, move it around so that they don't brown too quickly, but you gotta keep your eye on it and you gotta keep them moving all the time or else they will just burn and that is no good. So when they're done, you're not gonna leave them in the pan, you're gonna put them into a bowl because if you leave them in the pan, they're gonna keep cooking. The other thing I wanna show you, mandolin slicer. Okay, I just did my apple and my bell pepper in my salad. This is a great little thing. You don't need it. You can chop everything by hand, but if you want to go quickly, this is going to be your friend. Okay, let's check on it, guys. Look at that. That's what you want it to look like when you're going to get it out. You want it to look brown, but not getting too dark. Okay, I just took everything out of the oven, so here's how it should look. You want it to look crispy, golden brown, not too dark. There's the potatoes, super good. So make sure you taste things as you go. It's totally up to you how you season your food, but make sure that it tastes good to you because generally speaking, it's gonna taste good to other people. Here's a couple words about setting a table. There's little things, again, that you can do, super simple, like putting your napkins in the cups. My daughter Maria just set the table like this. Light a couple candles, keep it really simple, a little bit of greenery on there. I'm not saying this looks like the best table you've ever seen, but it's pretty good for a weeknight and it's pretty good for some guests. The little things make a difference. And that's just something to keep in mind. There's my dog Sam, just chilling, waiting for anything to drop on the floor. So there you have it. I hope that this works out well for you guys. Don't be afraid, just dive in, follow the tips, be okay with making mistakes. It might not be great. Like don't pull this off when you're inviting company over for the first time. Pull it off with somebody else that is willing to accept your errors. It takes a little bit of effort, but honestly, it's quite simple. And with all of these extra little steps, you're really gonna bless someone, even yourself. It's so nice to create a meal for people. It's welcoming. It can make people feel very loved and cared for and provided for. I always think about it in hospitality as a way to show off God's providence and his care for people by just being attentive to the little things. So everything that you need to know is going to be in either the show notes from a previous show or below in all the links. And send me any questions that you have. God bless you guys.